Super useful iPhone tips, part 1. We all know iPhones can't zoom in very far when taking a photo unless you use like Snapchat or Instagram or something, but there is a way to do it. In settings, go into accessibility and then click on magnifier and turn it on. Now either you triple press the home button or the lock button and it will launch the magnifier. You can just take your photo and it will be really zoomed in, and then to save it all you have to do is screenshot. How to use your iPhone without even touching the screen. It's actually super simple, so go into settings, then go down to accessibility, and then scroll down to voice control. Now when you turn this on, a little blue microphone will appear at the top left, and now you can say stuff like, go home, open TikTok, swipe right. You can even say, lock screen. Super useful iPhone tips, part 3, keyboard edition. Here are some really cool gestures. So if you're typing something and then you accidentally delete it, you can use 3 fingers, swipe to the left and it will undo. If you want to copy something, use 3 fingers again and pinch the screen. And then to paste, use 3 fingers again and pinch out. I'm going to show you some really useful iPhone tips, part 4. So the first one is for when you're typing in any app. If you hold down on the spacebar, it works as a trackpad, so you can go back to a word you might have made a mistake on and get rid of it. Next, if you hold down on the globe in the keyboard and then move it to the left or to the right, it will nudge your keyboard in that direction so you can use it with one hand. This is really useful if your phone is really big. Next is to stop taking photos of notes and documents with your camera because it just doesn't look good. Instead, hold down on the Notes app, click Scan Document, and scan it this way. This makes your notes look so much better. Super useful iPhone tips, part 5. When you're using the calculator and you're doing a calculation and then you accidentally make a mistake when typing, you don't need to restart the whole thing. Instead, just swipe to the left on the number and it gets rid of it, and then just replace it with what you needed. If you have Face ID on your phone, you can actually set up an alternative appearance, meaning that you can add somebody else's face to your phone. This is good if you want to give someone else access. Lastly, if you're on the latest update of iOS, you can probably do this. If you hold down on any app, it actually gives you shortcuts on some really common features and useful things that app can do. It's really cool. Super useful iPhone tips, part 6. So this is really cool. I'm going to show you how to do text shortcuts. So you're going to go into settings, general, and then keyboard, and then text replacement. Now you add something. So you add a phrase of something you say a lot. So I'm going to write in my username for my TikTok. Now I'm going to write a shortcut, which is just going to be user. So now when you type in the shortcut, the phrase will come up instead. Really cool. Super useful iPhone tips, part 7. Number 1, when you press and hold on an app and then drag it to move it around to rearrange your home screen, you can actually tap on other apps and it will group them together so you can move multiple apps at once. When you're wanting to connect to a Wi-Fi network from the control center, you can actually press and hold on the Wi-Fi icon and it will show you all of the available networks. And then also, it works with the Bluetooth as well. Really cool. Super useful iPhone tips, part 8. When you take a screenshot on your phone, you don't actually need to click into it to share. Instead, just hold down on the little icon and then you can share it instantly. When you take a screenshot and then you click into it to mark it up or whatever, if you need to take more screenshots of something similar, you can just swipe up from the bottom, hold it, go to whatever you need to take a screenshot of next, screenshot, click back in, and edit it. You can do this over and over to keep all your screenshots together. Super useful iPhone tips, part 9. So when using the Mail app, sometimes you don't want to click into an email to read it, you might already know what it says, so you can actually just swipe to the right all the way and it will mark it as read. You can do the same thing to mark it as unread. If you swipe all the way to the left, it will archive the message. You can swipe half to the left and then you can flag the message. Pretty cool. While writing an email, you can swipe down from the top. This lets you look at your other emails, and then when you're done, just tap on new message and it will jump you right back in. You can change it so your phone doesn't say sent from my iPhone at the end of every email. Go into your settings, go down to mail, and then go down to signature, and then you can change it from sent from my iPhone to your name or whatever you want it to be. Super useful iPhone tips, part 10. So most people know this, but you can actually make it so when somebody sends you a text message, they cannot see whether or not you've read it. In settings, simply go down to messages and then turn off send read receipts. Now people won't know if you've seen their message. Another cool thing you can do in settings is to show subject field. This lets you add subjects to your messages if you need to be a little bit more formal. Super useful iPhone tips, part 11. You can add locks to your notes so only you can see them. If you go into a note you want to lock, click share and then click lock note. Now you'll need to use Face ID or Touch ID to view the note. You can also add lines and grids to your notes by pressing share, lines and grids and then choosing the one you want. Lastly, if you press share and then press find in note, you can search for keywords anywhere in your note. Super useful iPhone tips, part 12. I'm going to show you how to do things like mute your phone, add rotation lock, and many more commands quicker than ever before. This is done by going into your settings, go down to accessibility, press on touch, and then press assistive touch, and then turn it on. Now choose what commands you want to add to a single tap, double tap, or a long press. There's so many commands to choose from. You can also add other commands to the assistive menu for easy access. Super useful iPhone tips, Safari Edition. If you're reading an article and you hold down on the two A's at the top left, it will make it easier to read by getting rid of unnecessary pictures and links. You can save any website for offline reading by pressing share, add to reading list, then click into your reading list, swipe to the left and then press save offline. You can access the desktop version of any website you want by clicking the two A's at the top left and clicking request desktop site. If you have multiple tabs open, you can close them all at once by holding down on the tab icon and clicking close all tabs. Super useful iPhone tips, part 14. You can hold down on almost any icon in the control center to get extended controls, including the flashlight where you can control the intensity of it. If you have multiple places saved in your weather app, you can hold down on it to check the degrees in all of them. If you spend too much time on your phone, you can actually add limits to encourage yourself to stay off it. Go into screen time, limits, add limit, select the app you want to limit, click add, and then select the time. Super useful iPhone tips, part 15. When trying to scroll on a web page, don't use your finger like this because it's actually pretty slow. Grab the bar on the right side and just pull it down, it's much faster. You can make your iPhone speak or spell words when you don't know how to. What you want to do is go into settings, go down to accessibility, click on spoken content, and then turn on speak selection. If you don't want to swipe away your apps from the app switcher one at a time, you can actually use multiple fingers to do it even faster. Super useful iPhone tips, part 16. Most people know that if you go into settings, general, keyboard, and then enable dictation, it allows you to speak what you want to type. But what most people don't know about this is that you can say question mark and it will enter a question mark. Full stop will put a full stop, and comma will put a comma, and so on. When typing with one hand, you don't have to press shift and then a letter, instead hold shift and drag to the letter you want to capitalize, it's much easier. Your keyboard can predict what you are going to say, so if you type my name is, your name will most likely come up the top, just like that. But also you can type something like I am at, and your current location will come up. Super useful iPhone tips, part 17. You can set a sleep timer so your music will stop playing when the timer ends. Just choose the amount of time, click on the timer tone, go down to the very bottom and hit stop playing. Now when the timer ends, your music will stop. If you didn't know, you can turn your calculator sideways and it will become a scientific calculator. And I've mentioned this before, but if you make a mistake when typing, you can swipe to the left on the number to redo. You can hold down on the arrow keys to skip forward or backwards into a song or any audio. This is great if the app doesn't allow you to do this easily. Super useful iPhone tips, Messages Edition. A cool thing you can do is go into one of your chats and then turn your phone landscape, and then you can press the button at the bottom right and then you can draw a handwritten message. There are also some pre-written ones for quick responses. If you have your Bitmoji set up, you can hold down on one of the stickers and drag it and let go onto a message to add a reaction. Or if you do not have Bitmoji, you can hold down on the message to bring up the reaction window. If you click info at the top of a chat, you can see all the files, photos, attachments, links that you've sent in the chat. It's a lot easier than scrolling up and trying to find it. Super useful iPhone tips, part 19. You may not know that the camera on your iPhone can actually scan QR codes, so this is really handy if you're out and you see it on a banner or a flyer or something. Just hold it up and it will instantly scan it and then you can open the link. Instead of bringing your loyalty cards around everywhere, if you take a good enough picture, it will work in most stores, but you can download the app Stow Card, which lets you scan your loyalty cards into the app and it will generate a barcode that will actually work. If you go into the Measure app and then click on the Level tab, your phone acts as a level. It's actually really handy when trying to hang paintings or trying to make sure something is completely flat, and it works really well. Super useful iPhone tips, part 20. You can stop advertisers tracking what you search by going into settings, go down to privacy, go down to advertising, and then turn on limit ad tracking. You will see less ads about stuff that you have typed into various websites. If you're trying to sign into a website and the suggested passwords don't come up, go into your settings, go down to passwords and accounts, up the top click passwords, and then it will show a whole list of all of your passwords you have ever entered into your phone. If someone you know is trying to join your Wi-Fi network, if they're on the password screen on your phone, it should pop up saying share password as long as they are in your contacts.